Hi everyone. Welcome to our first Wednesday workshop series. Just to introduce myself, I'm Whitney. I'm the Future Students Coordinator here at Photography Studies College. I'm joined by Val. She is one of our current first year students. Hi Val. She will be, sharing some of her experiences interviewing for PSC, and she'll hopefully be showing us some of her Folio images that she showed in her interview. I look forward to seeing them. I just wanted to start today by saying our interview process has already started for our Bachelor of Photography. So applications are currently open and we are conducting interviews as we speak. So, this year we have made changes because we know that it has been a really difficult year and a year unlike any other. We are quite understanding that, we can't even leave our houses. So how are we supposed to be taking photos? We're taking that into consideration more so this year. And also that we don't take ATAR into consideration when we're doing our applications too. It is really about you and your creative work. ATARs, they don't matter to us. Val, let's start right at the beginning. What kind of subjects did you do in your final year of school?
So I started off with almost nothing. I liked photography since I was in year 9, so I was 15 or something, 14, 15. And I used an iPhone and I was going around looking at oh, that's a pretty flower. I took a picture of that on my iPod Touch and then increase the saturation, put a lot of the vignettes and all that stuff, and it looked horrible, but that's what I loved at the time. And that looked inspired me for photography in the future. So in year 12, I don't know about you guys, I did studio arts, and that's what I did to work on a folio. Because I know that some classes have, some schools have VCD, media. Some people actually have photography, which is kind of really lucky.
Oh, the dream.
And, I only had studio, which involved I had a class of 19 because studio in my year level wasn't really that kind of looked over upon, because I went to an academic and a really, really high academic school. I don't know if you guys heard Westbourne Grammar. So so it was just science. You had to be good at science, all that stuff. So I obviously didn't choose science because I hate it. I decided to go down the photography path. So just keep in mind though, maybe you guys were in the same boat, but I was in a class of 19 and my teacher, and everyone was doing different things. That's what happens in studio classes. Everyone's doing different things. You get people doing finger painting to watercolors, sculptures, glass sculptures, canvas, etc., or photography. And teacher knew as much as you can. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of mediums to work with. And I was just using my camera on automatic. I thought that was the real deal. I didn't really care. I didn't really think much about the light, much about composition, much about anything. I just took pictures. I thought, oh, that looks good. Check it on Lightroom, Photoshop, and see what I can do with that. And by the way, my knowledge there was limited too. I mean, knew how to the brightness and exposure, but that's pretty much it. I thought I was good then, but compared to what I know now, only second semester in, I feel it's just mind blowing. I learned so many things. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So I so I started off with nothing. I thought automatic was the real deal. I had no idea that manual existed. Literally square one. Okay, so if you guys are worried about thinking that everyone is that next year you're going to be in a class people that know stuff, I'm telling you from experience, I came into class and I wasn't alone. All right? I thought I'm going to come into class thinking, oh, everyone's going to be levels ahead and I'm going to have to ask for help and I'm going to have to get all this extra help and I'm going to get nervous. No, at all. Literally, I was I was just it was so cool. I just felt welcomed and everyone was going around going, yeah, actually I didn't know manual existed either, or I didn't know that this lens does this, or so that was I was really happy to know that. So don't feel worried about that. So
and I think I'm just going to jump in here. I think you're kind of the perfect example of, PSC is here to teach you the skills.
Yeah.
But, you can't force someone to have passion and you can't force someone to have, a drive towards getting better at photography. So you know, show us your photos that you took on your iPhone and your dad's DSLR, and like show us what you've done and what interests you, because you're right, like everyone gets in, and sure, there's some people who do know a lot, but we start you at the base and you work your way up together. Yeah, continue.
And you found out that like those that who are a bit know a bit more actually like help you out, and then you end up being at the same level eventually, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
In a nice closed team environment as well.
And then it's always like a really good moment when, you know, there's someone who knows a lot going into the course and you're, you know, a beginner, but then you get to that stage where you're helping them out with things as well. It's give and take.
It's so good. And then like even when you're like learning through it, you're starting to talk like you know what you're talking about, and you go like, oh, this needs a bit more like +5 exposure, or it needs a bit of like tone or something like that. You're like, wow, I'm really setting the tester in and I know what I'm doing. Like
photography words.
So for my folio, I don't know about how you guys did your folios and stuff, but I didn't have much help with my teacher. So I just chose a medium, and at the time, fortunately, I was allowed to go to the city and take pictures. So that's why I don't know about you guys, and I don't know how you guys gone, and I bet you could have done as best as you could. Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go in the city and take pictures all around Melbourne freely. And, my overall theme was like urban culture. So it was just like, because Melbourne's really like Melbourne CBD, it's really heavily like it's a really good city for photos. Like, if you've gone through the city, it's like a lot of people, different cultures, different foods, different everything, and it's like really fun. Anyway, so that's what I focused on. I focused on like different meat. I can show you.
Yeah, show us.
It might be a bit difficult over Zoom, but I don't know how you guys did it, but I pretty much, for what I shown to the interviewers, I pretty much just showed my best work that's in my folio, but I also showed like my growth throughout the folio as well, and like
awesome
how I got ideas from different ideas to make the final, which you end up doing next in the semester as well. Like you do a lot of different shoots to then get to your final shoot, and that's what they want to see as well. Was what I picked up. Yeah, so I started off with like Polaroids, having a bit of fun with Polaroids. Also, I know you guys.
Oh wow! I just said, oh wow.
But my interviewers didn't have to don't read the annotations. You just have to explain what you've done and how you've interpreted your meaning and stuff like that. It's just like you just show your best work and show what you love about it. And so I explored a bit of Polaroids. I try to so then I can fill up my folio. I try to explore every medium of fill
up those pages.
So I just did normal digital prints. Then I did fisheye lens, which I got from like Ted's cameras for like $30, like the one you can chuck on your phone.
Yeah.
Did a bit of collage just because I know some studio art kids want to explore everything. And then I explored with like different colors, like focusing on different hues. And then the rest is just films. I really love film a lot. So
film photography.
Yeah, I love film. So it's just like a lot of different films. After that, I chose maybe the top 15 that I liked, like overall that I submitted, and I chucked it at the back. And then I chucked them at the back.
Nice.
Sorry, it's meant to be the other way, but like.
Yeah, I was like, is that a portrait or a landscape?
But I chucked them at the back, so then it was easier to flick through.
Yeah. And you could view them all at once.
Yeah, so then it was easier to group them and see, and like the connections between the two as well. Yeah. And then all I did was explain how my brain worked throughout the year, like how I went through Polaroids to my final film shots, and how I focused on so like I had 3 finals at the end of last year, which was like the names Underbelly of Melbourne.
Oh.
It was like a sepia tone, which was like
understandable.
So it's just like, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like sepia, so you can like, I took pictures of like pipes and like the grimes of the city, and I just like, yeah, so if you just like kind of explain where your ideas came from, and yeah, so like that's what I did. I remember that, and I remember getting asked questions like, what are you like passionate about, and what type of photography that you like. And it's okay not to know. I don't know still. I love lots of different types, and I'm still like getting explained like some new ones. And I'm like, oh wow, currently I'm doing food photography and studio work, which is actually pretty awesome. And I've never even considered doing it ever when at your position. So like, it's all like different, and it's fun. It's so much fun, and you're just getting used to something you've never done before, and then you're like, oh wait, I actually like doing that. I'm going to keep doing that, and that's your new career path. So you just don't know. It's just try it.
Totally. And I mean, you're, so really you're in the first year of the bachelor and you've already grown so far. So imagine even just looking back this time next year to where you would be. It's really cool. And I mean, I'm really impressed by your folio.
Oh.
It's quite good. I know for me, so I work at PSC, but I did the Bachelor of Photography. I started in 2014, and I did my high school years in Queensland, so my school didn't have any photography. I think we had a subject in like year 10 that was photography, and then I did film and television, but my passion was photography. So I know for me, like a lot of my images, they weren't around a topic because I'd never had the opportunity to to explore that and to explore photography as an art form. My folio work or my creative work was really portraiture that I'd taken on family camping trips and some landscapes. And I knew that I wanted to be a photographer and do photography, but I hadn't had the training, and that's why I was going to study. So, that was a big topic at my interview as well. So what I've done is I've gone through some images of mine and just some like iPhone photos, some film photos, and I have made a broad selection. And what we're going to do together is it's really just going to be an open discussion, and I have 15 images, and we're going to condense it down to seven. Yeah, let's do 7. I feel like that's a good number. So, Val and I will just be talking about the images, which ones we might prefer over others and why. Again, your feedback would be awesome, guys. So if you do, I know it's kind of awkward and scary on Zoom sometimes, but if you have we'll throw some questions out there, and if you have anything that you want to say, just say it. I'll just quickly share my screen. Okay, so I'm just using Adobe Bridge at the moment. We'll just go through some of the images. So first image is a portrait of my little brother playing guitar a few years ago. And then we have a portrait of my rabbit, Neville. We'll go down. We have another portrait of my brother when he was visiting Melbourne, and a portrait of a friend eating an apple. Then we'll go down. We have some architectural photos. So one in the snow and one in the city. We have Footscray markets when they were burnt down, and a nice sunset. We have 2 images taken in Malaysia, quite similar, but we can talk about which one we can pick and which one we can boot. And then we have another landscape. We have a little video, but I don't think the video will play here, but it's just kites in Malaysia and they're slowly moving. It's very pretty. And then we have some rocks down at the beach, and then we have another architectural photo from the city. So I guess there's a few different strains of thought that you can go when putting together a folio. And it really depends on what you're trying to show. So one way that you can approach a folio is to show your diversity of images. So to show the range of images that you can take, so that, you know, maybe if you're going for a job in the future, you can say, look at all the different things I can do.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I ended up showing photos from like year 11 and year 10 too. Like I went to a school trip to Cambodia, and I took pictures there as well. And then
awesome.
And then I went to like and I just took like random city places, like I don't know, random pictures. So I ended up showing you guys like different pictures from like different years, and that was okay, and you guys thought it was fine. It was yeah,
totally. Because I mean, the other thing is, you know, in the interview sense, you're interviewing to show your ability to learn and develop. So when you're putting together creative work, it's always important to think about the outcome, you know. Was this my actual folio from 2016? No, it wasn't. I don't think I would feel comfortable showing it. But it's honestly, it's just from my camera roll. I just found a diverse range of images. So thanks for your question, Manisha. So yeah, when you're interviewing, you know, it's good to think about what the outcome is. If, like I said, you're trying to show diversity, or if you're trying to show that you know, if you're going for an interview for food photography, it might not be worthwhile showing images of your pet rabbit. It just really depends on the process. So let's go for, you know, we're trying to show diversity in this folio for my interview. So I have two images that are very similar. So I want to get the group's opinion. I'll scroll up to them. So I have these two photos taken in Penang in Malaysia. Now, you know, if I'm trying to reduce it down to 7, there's no point keeping 2 images that look the same. So let's see who votes for the right image or who votes for the left image. What do you guys think? And Val, feel free to chime in as well. Right? Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Wait, are we all, does it flip it for you guys? Is the right the one ending in 38?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Now, why the right? What do you guys think? Any reason why? Val, what about you?
I thought that the perspective is a bit more clearer in a way that it's not like in comparison to the left one. You're more in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
You tell, like the building on the left is a little bit angled and still good, but in comparison to the other one, it's more in front of it. And I don't know. That's what I Yeah.
Awesome. The person isn't in focus in the middle of the image. Oh, good point out. Yeah. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'll rate this one 5 stars, and let's move on. And don't worry, you can say anything and you won't offend me as well. If you say, just remove that image. Okay, so we have another image where, you know, it's the same object. So if I'm reducing it, not necessarily important to keep both of them. Right or left? I love this. What do you think, Val? Left. Okay. Left. Right. Ooh, I love the difference of opinions. What do you think, Val?
Yeah, so I think I went with left because it's like you feel the frame a bit more, and it's not just all because the sky unfortunately is like overcast. So there's not much to it.
Yeah, so not much detail.
Yeah, so then might as well fill up the composition with a lot more detail with your subject in comparison to the other one, where it's still really cool, but it's still
Thank
really
you.
cool. The left has a lot of like detail, and like the light looks really nice on it. So yeah.
I think I actually edited this one slightly, so thank you for noticing. Now, let's maybe look at, so we picked 2 images. Let's maybe go for, we'll go no rating. Let's look at the 2 landscapes. Okay. Are they going to show up together? Okay, can everyone see that all right? Or do you want me to get closer? These 2. To me, the right looks claustrophobic. Yeah, good point out. Can you guys see the 2 landscapes? Actually, there we go. Okay. So 2 landscapes. So we have one landscape on the left, the very blue one has people in it, and the one on the right is very pink, and the clouds are a little bit better. Or I don't know actually, but they're both shot on film, both when I was visiting family in Queensland. What are we thinking about these ones?
Left for me.
Left, yep. Maddie's agreeing. Feels like each image has its own mood. Yeah, thanks. So you know what? Let's maybe, we'll rate, everyone's saying left, so let's rate left 5, and we'll rate this one 3, because Isabel said that they both have mood. So, you know, they could both be contenders. Because again, if you're presenting image like a folio and there's 2 images that do look similar, by no means am I saying remove them, because there could be a purpose to keep the 2 of them in there. Let's go to 2 portraits of my little brother, because he doesn't deserve to have 2 spots in my folio. So the one on the right, we have him playing guitar, and the one on the left, we have him in the city. Now, I think just looking at them, both, if I could shoot them again, I would probably change the composition slightly. I think the one with him on the couch, I'm not quite in front of him enough. Like, it would be better if it's more straight on. I think, you know, with the window and with the couch, it would be more striking. But then the one on the right, I would say it might be stronger if he was looking at the camera, because it is a reflection as well. What do you guys think? The right's too bright. Yeah, I like the one in the city. It's a brighter image. There we go. To it. And see, this is the thing that you'll get as well. Every photography is so objective. You know, people will, and I'm sure you get this in class all the time, Val, when you're talking about images. What one person loves in an image, another person will hate. Like, I recently, at the beginning of the year, I had an exhibition, and, you know, I was shooting blurry images to show off a mood, which, you know, someone who's a very technical photographer would be like, why are you doing that? That's not the correct camera techniques. So I like the varying opinions. Let's see if we can get another. I like the guitar one. Okay, so we have 2 votes for the guitar one. So let's do the guitar one, and we will leave this one out. Now, let's go. We've done those ones. Let's maybe compare these 2 black and white images, because, you know, portrait of an animal, portrait of a person, similar vibe. We have 3 more images to pick.
Are these taken on film?
No, actually.
Oh, okay.
They're taken on my iPhone with portrait mode, and then I used Visco to make it black and white and add grain. But some of the other ones, yeah, are shot film as well. So we have my little Neville and we have Geordie. Now, what do you guys think? I would probably go towards the portrait of the person. Little Neville's black eyes. I feel like if he had like a highlight in the eye, it might be more striking, and maybe if he was a little bit more centered. What do you think, Val?
Yeah, I agree. I think because there's a lot going on in the foreground. It's not messy or anything, but it's just like in comparison to portrait, it's just like clean and your eyes are directed to the person's face. But
yeah,
the bunny one's really cute though.
I know. Right, I like the shadows on the table too. Yeah. See, and I think that's another thing with both these images, like the one with the rabbit, it's like, you know, there's a lot of patterns going around and it's distracting. And a similar thing is happening with the image of Geordie, but it's more supporting her. Like there's, you know, the patterns on the table and there's the patterns behind her, but it's being used to frame rather than everywhere. So cool. Let's rate this one 5 stars. That one can vermouth. So I hope that you guys are like picking up that, you know, similar questions are going to be asked in your folio. You know, it's with photography being so objective, there's no right or wrong answer. And also, you know, there's just as much power in saying what you dislike in one of your images to saying what you do like. You know, even say you're presenting the photo of my beautiful rabbit, Neville, and you would say, you know, I like this portrait, but also if I could take it again, I would change this. You know, that shows that you're thinking about your images. So let's maybe, how many do we have? 5. So we have 2 more. I'm just going to quickly rate these ones 1 star so we can view them easier. We're not going to do the video. I don't think it's going to show. 1 star. Okay. Now we have, I'll click that one as well. We have room for 2 more images. Now, if we look at the images that we have already selected, oh yeah, there is 5. So we have 2 portraits. We have like 1 travel photo and then 2 landscapes. And the landscapes are quite varied as well. So looking at the photos that we do have left to pick from, what do you guys think we should, which ones do you think we should add in? See if I can zoom in. So we have this abandoned type factory or markets, the old Footscray markets, an architectural image, the snow, another architectural, and another landscape. So Maddie's saying the light post and the snowy one. Awesome. I wasn't sure about adding in the snowy one, but I think with a little bit of editing, it has quite a lot of potential. Does anyone else have any images that they think should be added? What about you, Val?
I thought them like similar to what one of you guys have said. I think the markets and the lamppost one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's add them in. So there we go. We've gone through the process of, you know, reducing our images and finding ways that we can, you know, have diversity. The curvy building deserves more love. The curvy building, oh yeah, that's a cool one, this one. in the city. I really like when I used to go to the city, I used to just stare up at that building and watch like the sun move across it. Should try it sometime when we can go outside. But you know, found ways to practically be able to reduce your folio so that you can you know, show what your potential is, show what you're capable of. And you know, you can even just add in one photo that you aren't too sure about, just to have that discussion. Because one thing that, if I could give any feedback from my experience studying, was it's okay to fail. And it's, you know, it's quite liberating to, you know, show a photo that isn't great and being able to talk about why it's not great, because it doesn't mean that you're not great. It just means that there's room for improvement. And you know, that's what we're about. We're about getting you to become the best photographer that you can be and the best artist that you can be. And the only way to do that is, you know, by failing sometimes. Have you had any of those? I'll stop sharing my screen, but have you had any of those moments yet, Val?
Oh, yeah. A couple of days ago. So we're doing food photography now, and it's studio work. And obviously, I don't have a studio at home, so
yeah,
we had to make do with what I had with light. And the lighting was just not working. It was just a frustrating day. It was just like, throw the camera, don't want to do it, don't want to touch it, go away, photography, don't want to look at you for a while. And that was that night, and you're just kind of like, wow, that was not good. But that's fine. And you look at the results like, yeah, okay. But you like, the next day, like a fresh mind, you're like, oh, okay, we can work from that. And then there's times where I'm at class and we actually have to show at work, where we get the assignment, and we do like, where the assignment is over 4 weeks, but every week we show our work in progress. So that would mean that we like anything that you've taken pictures of for the assignment, you show it off, and then you give people the opportunity to give you like positive or negative feedback, and that's okay. Like, even the negative feedback I find the most helpful. You get that from your friends, or like, no, I wouldn't say negative. I think it's like more of like
constructive.
That's what I mean. Yeah, constructive feedback. So like, then you think, oh wait, that's a good idea. Or I need to add a bit of color, or desaturate it, or add more light to it. And you're like, okay, that works out. And you find that's super helpful. And then you end up with like an amazing piece of work at the end of it. So yeah, so like, I mean, there's going to be so many days where you just go sit down. You're like, I have no idea what to do. But then you're in a group of people that are like helpful, and like you all inspire each other. It's pretty cool. But yeah.
I remember before I started studying photography, and I think it was a family camping trip, and I took some photos and they had a real mood to them, and I couldn't articulate it yet. And I remember going to mum and being like, Mum, like, what do you like about these images? And she's like, they're very pretty. And I'm like, no, like, tell me what you like. And and you'll find that when, you know, it is a real task as well. Like, you guys did a really good job in the chat with being able to articulate what you like about the images too, because that's something that takes time as well. You know, in those work in process classes, you learn a lot when you're getting feedback, but you also learn a lot by having to give feedback, because you're learning, you know, to say what's nice in an image, because it's something visual. Like, how do you put something visual into words? Have you found that?
There's so many times where you put so much effort into like the mood, the meaning, and all that, and you show it to someone that has no idea what's going on. And you're like, oh, they're like, oh, that's cool. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then so like what you said before with that feedback, it helps. Like, you're learning, like, when you're talking to people and going, oh, this needs some work, or they're saying, oh, this might need a bit of exposure. You're like thinking that stuff you collect in your brain, and you're like taking pictures. You're like, hang on, I need to do that, or I need to do something else, or like, this person said this before, maybe I should work on that. And then it all works. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I mean, if you're in class and you ever say, I like that picture, it's pretty, I think you'll get in trouble. They'll ask you. I had one teacher and they're always like, that, you can't say that. Why do you like it? But yeah, I think you guys did a really good job in the chat while we were, you know, reducing those images and going through their strengths and weaknesses. So good job to you guys. Okay, well, if no one has any more questions, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you for all for attending. I really enjoyed getting your feedback on my images and the discussions that we had. Bye, everyone.